Welcome back to the Celtics Nation Rise podcast, episode 59 fan series. My name is Griffin Aldrich. I'm the host. You guys know me. You guys know Seamus Zarlingo too, our co-host. And today we have a very special guest on the podcast. Welcome, Jon Ho. So I have to say, you guys all know the drill at home. We go through. I would love for you to introduce yourself for everyone at home watching.
All right then. So my name is Jon Ho. I've been a Celtics fan probably since since I was like a little probably middle schoolish. So been a Celtics fan for a very long time.
Well, I have to ask this too. And obviously, you already mentioned it. You were a Celtics fan for a very long time, middle school. But where did the Celtics fandom start? This is the question that we always ask everyone. And where did it, branch off? What made you fall in love with this team that we all love and very cherish to this day?
So my brother actually was the one that kind of really got me into the Celtics. He was a humongous fan. He basically, I think, became a humongous fan when around the 08 team. And I kind of I started more casual. I kind of saw the Celtics and the passion and all the players through him. I think I started becoming I started paying attention a little more when we went to a game, I believe around 2011. They played the Golden State Warriors. So this is before Steph Curry really became a star. I think Monte Ellis was still on the team. And so after that, I started to really get into the team. I was a big fan of that 08 late 2000s Celtics with KG and Paul Pierce and Ray Allen and Rondo. So that's kind of where it started.
That's incredible. So you guys know the drill. Seamus and I will be going back and forth. So Seamus, take it away. Have some questions.
Well, obviously, as Celtics fans, we've had many great memories over the years to witness. And a lot of our fandoms start around the same time. They start, a little difference. We've had fans on here, starts in the 90s, early 2000s. But we're more in the category of that big three era. That's really when our come up is. But since that point in time, and witnessing the portion of Celtics history you have, John, what are some of your favorite Celtics memories from that time period?
So, I mean, obviously the top is winning the championship last year. I don't think anything's going to top that because not only did they win, because
another one.
Yeah. Because as much as I love the KG and Paul Pierce team, I wasn't as into it as I am now back when I was a lot younger. So and to see the team build up to watching Tatum and Brown get drafted, watching the team be assembled, I wasn't able to go to the game, but I celebrated all night in front of the Garden. That's easily the highlight of my Celtics fandom. And I would say because I feel that's a pretty obvious one. I would say another one was sweeping the KD and Kyrie Nets. I believe, what was that, 2022 or I don't remember the year exactly, but sweeping them because I really detested that team. So that was another highlight.
Well, I have to ask a question too, kind of going off of that too, kind of. You said that you're a huge Celtics fan, obviously, and I see you out in Celtics community a lot. So I want to hear what's that like. Obviously, we've heard so much about it, but I want to hear from your perspective. What does that look like on a night-to-night basis? Are you going to, obviously, the watch parties, or are you going to the meetups at TD Garden? Where are you along those lines, obviously?
I think it's great. It's always great to be a part of a community and feel like you with like-minded people. I've known JRD, I think, just through social media, and then I got involved with a lot of those through the group chat. And basically, I think I joined around when the Celtics were playing the Pacers, so almost the perfect time. And then when they won the championship, it was you felt like you were with. Not only did you win, you felt like you were so happy the team won. You felt like you were part of a group of people that were sharing that joy. And so I try to go to as many as many events as I can. I do go to the watch parties, especially during the playoffs. Those are a lot of fun. I've been to not too long ago. I went to a pop-up event near TD Garden. We met Jaylen Brown. So I've been to a few of those. Obviously, I have a somewhat busy schedule, so I have to kind of pick and choose the ones I go to. But I try to go as many as I can.
Well, sorry, Seamus, you go after this one, but that's obviously I wanted to pull this up because I actually attended one of those. As you guys see, peek the new jersey case back in the background, but I'm gonna pull this one up as obviously there's you and Jaylen Brown, and I went to the one over there as well, and I tell you what, that it's surreal meeting the finals MVP, and I want to hear about your experience with it. And then Seamus, go ahead. I'm sorry I took your spotlight, but I want to hear about your time meeting the finals MVP. How was that like? And what was that experience like?
It was pretty surreal. I've actually gone to a lot of athlete meetings, so like meetups. I've met like David Ortiz. I've met Gronk. I've met like Zdeno Chara. So like, but like but like it's really special when you like watch an athlete that you saw got drafted and like you saw basically grow. And so like actually I think he came to the pop-up event 2 weeks ago and I couldn't make it because I was at a event. I think I was at a friend's event, so I couldn't go. So I like was pretty sad and I regretted not going. And so then when I heard he was going to pop up again, I was like, I'm definitely going to that. There's no way I'm missing. And so yeah, and the weather was not great, but I mean, I've dealt through, we've dealt through a lot worse. So like, yeah. And so like, I think Caveman helped take the picture for me. And so like, and I got the jersey signed. So
there it is once again.
Yeah. Do you want to see the jersey? I think I have it in my closet.
Of course.
Yeah, we love to see it. While you're getting that, here it is again. Sorry, I didn't mean to flash it so quick, but there's you in the finals MVP. And I love, obviously I heard a lot of stories about the rain and you can see it right here.
I was going to say, we can attest to Lily's story of the rain. Oh, there it is.
Oh, there it is.
Ooh, that's a nice signature right there.
I know this is your show, but hold on. I got to show you guys.
Oh, all right.
Nice.
The Jaylen Brown jersey showdown.
Oh, you guys are
there it is in the middle of it. And Griffin just let's do the backstory of this too. Just put in the case too, so just in time for the stream.
Just had this in the case.
Wait, is it the same signature? Here, wait. Let me. Here, wait. Both of you guys hold it up at once. I'm gonna take myself off the stage so they can so everybody can see.
I think mine might be a little bit more rushed because he was like dealing with. Or actually, it's pretty similar. I mean, the weather was pretty.
Right.
Not very good.
Whoa. Let's.
There it is.
No.
So yeah, mine's in the case now. Are you gonna get a good case for it?
Potentially. I haven't really. I haven't really looked into it too much. I actually. So I had. So obviously I have to retire that jersey. So I actually bought another one. I put the patch on the back too. So.
That's what I'm missing. I just told Seamus that because I saw your jersey and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm missing the finals patch. Do I add it though? Or and you gotta check out the pictures. The choice of pictures was, we
nice.
had that one. Oh, you guys have the Roku.
That was an amazing jacket.
And then we have this one, and then obviously me meeting him. So nice. I had to add that in here. But Seamus, come back in, Seamus. I'm putting this back up. I had to show you guys this really quick.
Gotcha. Yeah, that was a really sick jacket. I think that was during the opening nights, I think, when he wore that.
Yeah, I love the jacket, and I think it was his juice jacket too. I'm sure you could buy those, but
I think I saw them at the pro shop. Probably out of the budget.
Oh, a little bit. I know. I saw those online, the jackets, and I'm like, because you remember that juice brand that he used to have, obviously. Everyone knows the juice brand. So I had one of the beanies that said juice on it, and I lost it, and I was so devastated. And he, obviously doesn't have that clothing brand anymore. He has the big, nice, fancy jackets for, $1,500 or something like that. So it's obviously way out of the price range, as you said. But I was like looking for those hats and I can't find one. So if anyone in Celtics community has a green juice beanie, I'm willing to pay some money for it. I'm willing to pay, I have to say, but yeah, way out of the price range.
What did you
Yeah.
pay initially for the juice beanie?
Like 20, $30 at TD Garden.
Ain't no Walmart beanie, I'll tell you that.
I would be willing
No free
to
ads.
20, $30 still for it. I love that beanie. So I just had to throw it out there. Throw it.
Yeah. I actually I went to the they had like a like a post game after the opening night at a venue, and he was like performing on stage, and so he had that jacket on. And first of all, like that was probably the first time I really saw him in person, and then like that jacket, like I mean, it just and he had like the ring on, like the aura, man, like that was crazy.
Yeah, insane.
And I want to point out too to everybody. I mean, look at Jaylen Brown. We covered Jaylen Brown staying the fact Jaylen Brown was staying in Boston over the summer or part of the summer, was staying in the community while he was rehabbing his meniscus. And we knew he was going to be out in the community doing different things. We saw him show up at a high school earlier on in the summer, and then he's been doing the pop-ups all summer. But just look at that moment right there. You guys both have your signed jerseys by Jaylen Brown, both have great pictures with him, and we've had so many fans on here with great memories, and that's all been formed over this summer, and that's just from Jaylen Brown staying in the community. We think about a lot of NBA athletes. Where do they go? They go to Los Angeles, they go to Cancun, they go all over the place. I'm sure Jaylen Brown, he takes his vacations last summer and even the summers prior. He was over in Europe and Africa and all those places, right? The Middle East. Yep. And this was the water training. But Jaylen Brown staying in the community of Boston. I mean, look how many great memories it sparked just in this summer alone. And it's really surreal because I remember us covering at the beginning of the summer how he was going to stay in the community a little bit more and how he was going to be more involved in everything that happens in Boston. And we've seen that over this summer. But obviously, both of you guys have met Jaylen Brown. And John, you've met a lot of other Celtics as well. And one of those Celtics, the truth, Paul Pierce, right? Paul Pierce is kind of that, you know, when you came up in your Celtics fandom, he was the guy in Celtics Nation, obviously alongside Kevin Garnett. But even before that, the guy in Celtics Nation. Yep, here's the photo right here. But John, how was it? What was it like meeting Paul Pierce during this event right here?
Well, it was one of the greatest moments of my life. So I kind of view it as kind of a full circle moment. Like, obviously, Paul Pierce is my favorite basketball player of all time. And, like, he was one of the factors that got me into the Celtics. Like, he was the leader. I thought the headband was always really cool. And he was, like, always the guy that you give the ball to in the clutch. So to actually meet him, like, I think he had a kind of like Jaylen Brown. There was another opportunity before, and I wasn't able to go. I think I want to say like sometime in maybe the first round. I don't remember, but like there was a time he came and like I wasn't able to go to that. So like when it popped up again, I jumped on the opportunity, and then so that was pretty surreal. I think him or either him or David Ortiz is like the most like happy I've ever been meeting an athlete. Like
I tell you what, you and I have so much in common because I don't know if you follow my main account on Instagram, but since the day I met David Ortiz and I was so young, it's still my profile picture to this very day. I will not change that. Like that forever will be my favorite moment of all time. So I can't ever change that. I just can't. I can't. That was I feel like a tier list. Like I love Celtics and Celtics has my home heart, but like we have David Ortiz up there. If you guys see it, yep. But like that's definitely favorite of all time for sure.
I know this is Celtics chat, but like
No, we welcome all Boston sports, every sport. Let's face it. I mean, every sport out here.
I'm gonna throw this one up too of you and Durant. I had to add that really quick. Tell me how. I know we're on Celtics talk, but I came across this and I saw you on a line at Fenway Park, and you were meeting all the not Celtics. Sorry, I'm on Celtics mode. All the Red Sox stars. What was that event?
So it was Celtics Day, so it kind of has the Celtics tie-in. So apparently, so I actually wasn't aware of this. I thought it was a paid thing, but like I think through the Celtics group chat, I think Caveman and a few other people in the chat were there. So they let me know that if you go early, then they'll let you on the field and let you take pictures with
Is
some
this
of the
every
players.
day?
I think it's only certain games. So
Maybe
you
like
have to go on
Sundays
like
or something.
you have to go like on the like the website or like the giveaway site and like see what
Cool.
games that they allow that. So that was one of the games, and so like I got but my favorite one actually got one with Veritek. That was like my favorite one, and Grant was like, and also I kind of was lucky. I was kind of walking around. He was there because he's like arguably the most popular player on the team, and so so like he happened to be there. Obviously, he had to take a picture with a kid first. I'm like, hey, can I get a picture? And he's like, yeah, sure. And I just quickly took one. So that was pretty cool.
I tell you what, we do that at the Sea Dogs too. It's the pregame parades. That's what we do over there in Portland. Come to Celtics night. But my next question, and then Seamus, you could keep going off of those, is obviously I found this one very interesting that you sent me of you and Cedric Maxwell. And it looks like, and you could tell me the story, but this looks like before a game or after a game. You got to tell me this story. Like, what was the whole thing behind this meetup?
So that I think that that was after the opening night. So kind of like a finals game, like I could not afford the tickets at all. So I went to the watch party that the TNT had, and then I went to the watch party at Big Night, and then afterwards we were all celebrating beating the Knicks by a lot. Wish that wish that happened in the actual playoffs, but and so he was just kind of out there. I think I actually that night I ran into Karen Russell, Bill Russell's daughter. So and she was really nice. So like that was really cool. And so I think he was like out and about, and I think like there were a few like older ladies with him, and like I think I offered to help take a picture for them, and then like I asked for a picture. He was just kind of there, like so. Yeah. I recognized him. So,
and I have to say, this is that like grocery store inside a TD Garden. I don't know if it's a grocery store, if you could call it.
Yeah, it's a grocery store. It's the near Starbucks. It's around like a Starbucks. It's like
wait, is that the grocery store? Wait, is that the grocery store where you go down the escalator?
Yeah,
stairs. Yeah. It's underground.
Yes,
that's incredible.
I've been in there before. I've been in there. All the way from St. Louis.
Yep.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But Seamus, if you wanted to ask him about the next athlete, because there's a couple of big Celtics names on here that you met, obviously.
Oh, and speaking of former Celtics, Leon Poe, another former Celtic you've met. And this one, you can pass this off as a back halls of the TD Garden type of photo, which it might have been. I don't know. But what was it like meeting Leon Poe in this photo here?
So that was pretty cool. So I think this was around. So I went to Game 2 this year against the Orlando Magic, and so I actually was at a bar outside the Garden. So I wasn't actually planning on going, but like I went online and like I actually went in at halftime because the tickets prices like dropped so low. I think I only paid like $40 to get in there. Like it was around halftime. And so I saw the tickets were like only $40. So I'm like, I'm going in. So I bought them. I went in and then like I hung out with like, I think we did like a meetup with the GRD crew. And then I think I was I think I went in to check on like the time when the quarter was about to start. And then I saw him and I asked for a picture and he said, yeah. So that was pretty cool.
Well, that's incredible. And I want to throw out this one. Obviously, you and Derek White here at one of those meet and greets. What was this experience like for you as well to meet Derek White? Obviously, we're going back and forth with the players you met, but that's a really cool one too. How was that experience like?
That was pretty cool. That was the what was it, New England Pictures? They do a lot of like athlete meet pictures and autograph stuff. So I believe that was at the Braintree Mall. So like that was and also I just saw that. I think that was like my first time meeting like a player that Actually, there is one more I think I did meet before that was on the current team. We can get to that. I'm assuming we maybe get to that later. But
Yeah.
and so I saw that they were having a picture event, and so I bought a ticket, and and I have the Celtics are the balls hat, so that he famously wore. So I thought that'd be funny, and I think he was kind of amused by the hat. And like a lot of basketball players, he's a lot taller than you think.
Oh, totally, totally. Well, I don't think we have that player on here, so if you wanted to say who it was, I don't.
I once met Luke Cornett.
We have that player on here, Griffin. Here it is.
My bad. I messed it up.
Yeah. So one time I was at my local mall in Burlington when I used to live around there, and I mean, first of all, he's pretty tall, and I recognized his face immediately. I was just kind of walking around, and I'm like, "Hey, you're Luke Cornett," and I asked. He was with his daughter, so I asked to take a picture. I think he was a little hesitant at first, and I asked him to take a selfie. I felt kind of bad because he was with his daughter, and like obviously when athletes are with their family, they're not really interested in like fan stuff sometimes. But like I asked for a selfie, he was like, "Yeah, sure," and so that was pretty cool.
Well, that's exciting. Oh, go ahead.
No, and what are your thoughts on Luke Cornett signing with the Spurs and now no longer playing with the Boston Celtics? What are your thoughts on that?
Obviously, it's pretty sad because he was a very effective backup center, and like he had he had probably the most unique and fun personality on the team. So obviously that picture, I'm gonna miss him. I think that contract is when I saw that contract, I'm like, I don't know if the Celtics, especially with the whole apron thing, like I don't know if we could have signed with that. I do think at some point they're going to have to address the five because they're like what we got now, like Jordan Walsh and Keita. Like it's not looking pretty.
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, what we get: Keita, Garza, Tillman, Amari Williams. I don't know if they have any starters.
Charles Bassey.
Maybe Charles Bassey from somewhere.
Maybe. Fingers crossed.
But I gotta ask this one, and then we'll go more into your fan questions, obviously. But you at TD Garden, what was this about? Obviously, we're just going back and forth, hearing about all your experiences. But again, you're a guy who, and you said it earlier, you like getting out in Celtics community. You like going to the pop-ups. You like doing all of the things that are home and dear to the heart with the Boston Celtics. But what was this experience like being at TD Garden, obviously on the floor right there?
Yeah. So I think that was just a tour of the garden I did I want to say a month ago. Yeah. And I got to see like some of the cool stuff, some of the like inner workings of how the garden works. It was just it was a tour of where all the Bruins and all the Celtic stuff is. Unfortunately, we couldn't go into the locker room. I think that was like secluded. We couldn't go there. Yeah. Also, I wanted to add another story to the Paul Pierce meetup. So, I'm sure you can relate. I don't know what do you say to these when you talk to them? Like how do you start a conversation with like Paul Pierce or Jaylen Brown? So actually, I think the day or the few days before, I went to the Basketball Hall of Fame, and like they had a lot of his stuff there. And so I thought like a fun way to just have a little conversation was like, hey, I went to the Hall of Fame earlier, and I showed him a few of his stuff. He's like, oh wow, I can't believe they have all that stuff. They have all that stuff there. So they had a lot of his Celtics. I think they might have had some of his Kansas stuff. So like that was like a little fun interaction I had with Paul Pierce.
Yeah, and we talked with Jonathan recently because he is a guy who also goes out there and has meet a lot of athletes, as we saw on the last podcast. But you want to spark something, obviously, like with them, because you just don't want to go up to them and be like, hey, I love you. You have to start a conversation. That was a great one to start. But Seamus, want to ask more about his Celtics fandom, obviously.
Well, of course, we have quite a few questions on the Celtics fandom, and we touched on them a little bit already with the favorite Celtic memories, but now we're gonna go in on the favorite Celtic players. Who is your favorite Celtic player of all time, John?
I think I addressed it. I think I mentioned it a little earlier, but Paul Pierce was my favorite because he was the longest tenured Celtic. I feel like a lot of your favorites are shaped when you're a lot younger. So like he was like the longest tenured Celtic. I thought the headband, like I said, I thought his headband was really cool. Like it was never the most flashy player, but like when the game was on the line, like there weren't a lot of players I trusted more than Paul Pierce with the shot at the end.
So, who would you say your favorite current Celtics player is then?
That's a good question. I'd probably say Jason Tatum because I mean, like I watched him get drafted. Like, I mean, his versatility and like, I think also the fact that he's pretty polarizing to outside fans makes me like him even more.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Well, we're getting ready to wrap this up, but Seamus, do you have any couple more questions to finish it off?
Well, if you look at Celtic history, right, and all the great players in Celtic history, if you were to make an all-time starting five out of the great Celtics we've seen over the years, who would that starting five include?
Oh wow, that's a good question. So I'm actually like a big Celtics historian. I like love to read all the history books. I watched the Celtics documentary on HBO Max. Like every episode it came out, I was there to watch it. Celtic City, and I like have like a bunch of history books. I'll get the obvious ones. So Bill Russell at the 5, I think is obvious. Larry Bird at the 3. I think the 4 would either be KG or Kevin McHale. I guess I don't know. Like if you do we want him at their peak? I think peak wise, I think KG was the better player, but obviously McHale was with the Celtics a lot longer, so I don't know if we want to factor that in. I think if we're going peak, then I'd take KG at the 4.
Okay.
At the 2, and it's tough. It's either Paul Pierce or John Havlicek. I'd say I've actually thought about like what would a Celtics lineup look like in the modern NBA versus like just an all-time one, but I think I might go. Yeah, I'll go Paul Pierce because he's my favorite, but Havlicek's very close. And then at the 1, historically it's probably Bob Cousy, but I think I saw Scalabrine. I think mine might be kind of pretty similar to I think Scalabrine had a top 5, a starting 5 as well. I consider also like Dennis Johnson and JoJo White. I think I might go JoJo White. I think that'd be pretty. I think I'll go JoJo White.
JoJo White, St. Louis native.
Yep.
St. Louis native.
Well, I have obviously this will be my final question, and we can close it out. But you obviously said your all-time Celtic starting 5. What's your fan favorite Celtic starting 5? So all your favorite players can be in there. Starting 5 for your favorite players. What would that look like?
Oh, okay. Does it only have to include players that I watched, or can it include players I never watched, or
All-time
Celtic starting 5 for
let's face it, highlights and film from back then. Like the full games are on YouTube from a long time ago. It's definitely different watching it in the moment and knowing the context of everything, but we do have film from long ago. So
Gotcha.
Of course.
So I kind of want to play around with this because I don't want to just like place like the standard like players because like I mean that's too easy. So obviously Paul Pierce at the 2, like
Okay.
I'd have Isaiah Thomas at the 1 for fun.
Yes. You got it. Every
little guy.
You got IT in there. Everyone loves IT.
Yeah. KG at the 4. Because I think he's probably my second favorite Celtic. At the 5, Luke Cornett at the 5.
I love it.
Yeah. Yes.
This is not going to be like the greatest team ever, but like I just for fan purposes,
Entertainment purposes.
Entertainment. And then at the 3, well, let's go Jason Tatum.
I was waiting for that. I was like, we gotta give a little. I was waiting to hear you say Jason Tatum on there, but
Yeah.
I will have to say, Seamus, for the all-time list, I think you're up there. We were talking with Andrew. We gotta put the starting fives into 2K. Or at the end of the year, like when we're done with the fan series, have them all like tiered out. I think your like all-time one was top tier. I don't know about you. Do you agree with that, Seamus?
Especially when he puts the St. Louis native JoJo White in the starting. Of
Yeah,
course.
can't go wrong with that. Yeah, I didn't actually realize he was a St. Louis native until I saw Celtic City. Like, so there's a little like Tatum and JoJo White connection. I thought that was really cool.
Of course, St. Louis and Boston always finds their connections some way, somehow, obviously.
Yeah,
but
they actually have a interesting like back and forth in like the finals. Like I mean, back in the day, like the St. Louis Hawks played the Celtics in the finals. The Patriots won their first Super Bowl against the St. Louis Rams. The Red Sox and the Cardinals have played each other a few times in the World Series, and the Blues and the Bruins. I'm still traumatized by 2019.
Oh no, 2019. I'm after game one. I'm going. I think this is the end of the road for us. And then next thing you know, that was the funny thing. Game 7. I'm watching one of my favorite teams. Right? You know, I'm a Blues fan. I'm just gonna say this. I'm a Blues fan from St. Louis. Right? But I'm watching one of my favorite teams hoist a trophy at the TD Garden in 2019. And if you were to ask me which team that would be at the beginning of the season, I would have thought 100% the 2018-19 Celtics would have been that team. Yet, no, it was the 2018-19 St. Louis Blues. Very, very interesting.
Yeah, don't wait a little longer for that, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, I mean, part of me is a little happy for them because like it was their first cup ever, but like still, like obviously that traumatized me till this day. So
right. And one more before we do close off here, and Griffin, you can go ahead and wrap up after this one. But we're talking a lot about Celtics history, and you mentioned Jason Tatum in there. Obviously, no Jason Tatum next year for the Celtics, but looking ahead in history for the Boston Celtics, what are your expectations for next year's Celtics team in 25, 26? Got to get rid of the 2024, unfortunately, now, but 25, 26.
Yeah, it's always interesting to keep up with the dates. So next year, I mean, I kind of expect it to be like a transition year. Like we have to deal with the second apron stuffs, and we have to, like I said before, like we have to figure out who's going to play the 5 in the future. Because like, this was kind of an inevitable for a long time because Al Horford was is really old. Porzingis was like, you could never rely on his health at all, and Cornette, as much as like we love him, but like I don't know if he's like the number one. He can be the most reliable number 1 center for you. So I think at some point we have to try to figure out whether get a player in free agency or like draft a player and see who we have. I think it's just like to see like how good, like just to see what we have on the roster can like Pritchard or like Derek White or Jaylen Brown, can they step up like their game? I think it's just a trend. Unfortunately, I think it's just going to be a transition year. I think they can they'll get into the. I think they can get into the playoffs. I mean, the bottom of the East is not great, so like I think they can get into the playoffs. And I don't know, maybe seeing the Dallas Mavericks, they somehow got the number 1 pick. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, so and they were like a playing team. So yeah, I would say maybe lower playoffs maybe, but like I kind of view it as a transition year.
No, totally. I agree with that. I feel like this year, you're finding out new lineups, you're really building this team, but I do have to say thank you again so much for joining us, Jon. We had a great time hearing about all your experiences with Celtics legends. So thank you again so much. And you guys know the drill. We are on to the next one. Thank you again, Jon Ho.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to do this. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much. Welcome back to Welcome back to the Celtics Nation Rise podcast. Oh, sorry. This is part 2 of the episode. Again, we're joined by Seamus Zarlingo, and I'm Griffin Aldrich. And alongside of us, joining us now, is Tiggy. So welcome to the show. And obviously, a question that we ask everyone, you guys know it from an interview we just did too. Tell us about yourself. And we got here, we want everyone to know at home about you. So just give us a little rundown about yourself.
Well, first of all, Celtics Nation Rise, really appreciate y'all for having me on.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you. We
So,
appreciate
yeah,
you.
for real. And so Tiggy, TJ Patiglio, I am from Brighton, Massachusetts, originally from Boston. Been living in South Carolina the last 3 years, in Charleston, South Carolina, and now I'm back living in Boston, West Roxbury. I mean, I've been a Celtics fan for as long as I can remember, at least since like '95, probably. And I've been going to the Garden since like '96, probably around there, which is I think when the Fleet Center had their first year. Um, so definitely been a big Celtics fan throughout my life. Huge on the '90s and the 2K, and I mean I just really love the passion in our city and the way that people have been bringing the community together. People that I've recognized in this community for quite some time, like Green Runs Deep. I used to work outside TD Garden in 2019, and I met that man in like 2018 or 2019, and he's been really like going hard and showing people what he's always loved. And you can tell that once people understood that, he was able to really put the team on his back. Community, Caveman on Causeway, another person that I've really gotten to know. My buddy Edom is a good friend of mine who I've known for 7-8 years, and we both are very passionate Sox and Celtics people. So it's just really like Boston's Big Four, big sports podcast in the city. I mean, I could go on forever, but all I will say is that this community just always rises right to the occasion, as you guys know. And I think that's just something really special. And anything I can do, I've promoted other artists before, and done stuff in the community in my own way, like you guys would. So I'm always all aboard when it comes to team things like that, man. So say no more.
Well, a thing I want to ask you too, and we always ask this as well, is where did your Celtics fandom start? Where did it all originate from?
I appreciate that question. It's that's really a question to make me think. I think a lot of it really was like from my father's influence, and from D Brown, and being the 91 92 slam dunk competition, being it that it was the year that I was born. As I grew older, within 5-6 years of that, I learned about it, and I learned about what it was, and I thought about how cool it was to me. And I think the rest just was kind of history. Like I just, I would go to games with my dad. Celtics didn't really have a ton of deep playoffs from what I remember in the '90s, but one thing I remember is seeing cool players that were like fun and active, and like hustle players, passionate. The culture was already, there prior to that, but it was something that was extremely special to me. Like D Brown, Ron Mercer, Dana Barros. These were guys that were playing like in, 96, 97, 98, 99, 2000, so it's like you really had, you know, it was a good example. It was kind of, the Sox were kind of the same. Like there was a lot of like, hey, these guys are really good. Like we have a great group of guys, and maybe as a team we weren't as skilled as some of the other teams that we were playing when it came down to deep playoff runs. But it was just it was an energy that I still feel. I can still feel it, and I think it's never changed. It's only gotten better, but it's modernized in its own way. Just like, I mean, a lot of things in the world. So it's just special. It's
No,
a culture.
And that brings up an interesting point because you've seen a lot of Celtic history, and there's been a lot of Celtic history just recently surrounding the team. As your time as a Celtic fan, really your entire life, what are some of your favorite Celtic memories during your time as a fan?
Celtics memories. There was one time. kind of like, again, like, I don't mean to tie that. I keep saying stuff about the Red Sox. That's not what this is about. But I will say, it's funny because
We'll accept those answers too. I will say
I
we
appreciate y'all.
there's a lot more Red Sox content on here than people might think
No,
during the fan
we love the
series.
Red Sox here. I work for the Portland Sea Dogs, so
No,
I'm all
listen,
in
I
on.
appreciate the both of y'all, and like, so this, like, I mean, there was one day where I went to a Sox and a Celtics game in the same day. My dad somehow took us to the Sox later in the day, and the Celtics played at like 1. That was a memorable day. Um, do you remember this one like Sunday when I was like 7 or 8, and I was watching a Sunday afternoon game, and I remember it was cold, and I remember I didn't like that, and I remember that I felt like some type of way. You know what I mean? I was young, but I felt, cold would give me anxiety. It was something I didn't like. But I remember looking forward to watching the Celtics and the Magic on a Sunday afternoon at like, it was one of those like 12:30 or 2 p.m. games, and it was like, a little matinee, as they say. So, and I like those kind of moments where I can just wake up and I have that Sunday afternoon to like really look forward to like seeing a Celtics game. And I remember watching it on TV in the living room. And this was like before HD television, so it was cool. I really take a lot of pride in the year that I was born, and I think I'm lucky. And I think about, as I got to grow into the late 90s and be able to like actually absorb those moments. Tony Battie was another Celtic. I remember him on TV that day. I remember he had a lot of fouls that day. That's all I remember. But I remember moments like that are like not as distinct, that I have like photographic memories of, that like have this, when I lived in South Carolina, like I would feel like passion of those moments when I wasn't near y'all and like the championship happened. I watched it at my apartment that night, but I wasn't living here when it happened. So, and, you know, uh, I mean, I think moments like that are the special ones. So somehow if you guys are asking me off the top of the dome, that's what comes to mind.
Well, I wanna ask a question related to that. Obviously, watching it in the comfort of your home. I was in Maine. Obviously, I'm from Maine, so I was watching it in Maine, and
Amazing state. Amazing.
oh yeah, gotta
Love
love
it.
Maine. Gotta love Maine. Gotta
Gotta
come to
love it.
Celtics night too. You gotta come to Celtics night. But uh, I,
Hell
I
yeah.
I gotta say though, like I all the time I'm like, Jesus, should have went to that game. I regret it, but it's great in the comfort of home. But a question I have for
Yes.
you, and I bet you're also saying this. You're like, oh, it would have been great to stay there. How does it feel to kind of be back home, and now you're looking at it and it's kind of like a retooling year this year. How are you feeling along those lines, and what are your thoughts on this Celtics team and going into this year, without a Jason Tatum, and along those lines, where are your thoughts?
I mean, man, I could ask y'all the same. Like, I think it's very, we're here in a time where, I think one thing about Boston sports and just sports in general that's changed since like some of the memories and the times and the years that I just brought up, right? It's like, we have to understand how quickly people move around. Sometimes trades happen. Things are more stern with that these days, but sometimes it can rub me the wrong way, and other times it's really exciting, right? But like, seeing Jrue Holiday come to the Celtics, I mean, that was such an exciting thing for me. I've always really liked him as a player. That guy just, he moves around like an athlete. He's a poised individual. He's a really good guy, and he has a lot of skills. And he did early on in the league. I mean, even with New Orleans, like, you were watching him, you know what I mean? You knew he was that guy in the league. You were like, oh damn, he's a threat to us. Sometimes he's a snake when we don't need him to be, but no, but he's he ain't no Chris Middleton, no. But I just make jokes about players that I think are good. When I say that, I mean players that I think are actually good, that I don't want them to do well against us, but I respect them. And there's players like that. I got a handful on that list, but Giroux was really special. And I think it's so we lost Porzingis, right?
Yeah.
That's something that's, I mean, I don't know. I could like, we always have that talk of, oh, the Celtics have like a big man, and this is like a special thing. I think he really fit in well on our team. And I think like disbanding pieces of like what seems like a really solid foundation can always be like a really tough thing to like digest, like, and I think it has to do with the camaraderie that's built. And like when we lose a soldier like Tatum, you know what I mean too, it's like, dang, like, having all the elements that we've already shown, like here as a team, I don't know, it feels weird to lose someone that's a key element. It's like, oh yeah, we didn't win, we didn't get past the Knicks this year in the playoffs, and we didn't win a championship. So, and there's reasons, right? There's money, there's things involved, but it's like when you really think about the core of what it is in your heart, it's kind of like it sucks because I really like Zinger, and I mean he's a unique guy that can shoot the ball in a special way. You know what I mean? You don't really get guys like Jokic and Zinger like all the time, like with what they do and like the theatrics they could bring or the personality that they might have. I mean, Giannis is a player that's like that. You know what I mean? They're just like really sharp, like they're overall sharp. And I think it's tough now to think about that, with where our team's at. But I do look forward to seeing Tatum's return. I think JB's been out here in the community like nobody I have ever seen before. I think that I'm just going to say it to y'all right now. I've been saying it to a few friends the last couple of days, ever since I chatted with him the other day. Like, I'm just going to tell you right now, I think that man could be like a LeBron and build a school in the city. Or like he's going to do something like heroic. He's already done heroic things.
We got to bring it up. We got to bring it up.
You guys are fucking amazing for that. No, I appreciate y'all. That was quick, man. Excuse my language. I shouldn't be swearing on the podcast.
No
We're a free program here.
Yeah, but here
speech is allowed on Celtics Nation Rise and Celtics Talk Weekly.
Oh, totally. But I had to put this in, Seamus. Look, you want to see something cool? We got the dap up right
that
there.
Man makes music too. Let's make no mistake. I mean,
yes. Oh,
music, so
yes.
Man.
You gotta we gotta hear you elaborate more on that. Obviously, like
for sure.
And I would love to hear about your experience because this was actually the next question we had too, is because I went to the Jaylen Brown pop up in Canterbury, and obviously we've talked.
Looked amazing.
Yes, it was such a great time. But
man out there with the 7. Yeah, no, go ahead. I'm sorry. Those were
no worries. No, but that being said, I feel like Seamus, I would say pretty much almost every fan we've had on the fan series pretty much has been to those Jaylen Brown pop-ups. If you wanted to talk about the most recent one, and I'm still kicking myself in the butt for not going to that one because I wanted to go to that one so bad, but my car is messed up. So that's a story for another time. But it
happens.
Yeah. But I'd
been there, bro.
Hear about your experience. And you were talking to Jaylen Brown for a minute. Were you talking to him about music? What was that conversation like with Jaylen Brown? And how was that time, obviously, before the Connecticut Sun versus Indiana Fever game out there with Jaylen Brown?
Bro, listen, like you said, and make no mistake, lot going on Canal Street that day. Lot going on, right?
Totally.
And first and foremost, the WNBA was out there outside, 3 to 7 block party. I'll say that. Now, and I will just say, backtracking a tiny bit, I've been to one block party on Canal, right? We get them in the city, and it happens. But this was a Game 7 Bruins, Stanley Cup final against the Blues in 2019, right? So, I mean, that's, a whole nother thing. That was like, you could barely walk down that street and move without being like, oh my God. So that's a little overwhelming, and you want people to be able to breathe and have a good time. It's hot out. It's the sun. I mean, that was in June, so it was hot then too. I just remember that, 6 years ago. But and like I said, I've been gone for 3, so these memories are almost like rebirths in my mind. Sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, this is amazing. So much has happened since then. Getting back on track though, it's like, this was a moment where it reminded me of that, and I knew it was going to be something different. And it was fantastic to see, there was people out performing. There was a DJ. There was games and stuff going on, like, in the middle of the street. And then there was the line, and I got there like an hour before it was over. And So I was inside the gate where the chain fence is for the line, and they were kind to me. They let me through at the very end. Like I was in line waiting, but they said that I was essentially the last. So it was kind of a unique moment, and it was my boy E's birthday. I'm not sure if Griffin, if you've met my boy Edom, he's like been at a lot of watch parties. Really good
Not
dude.
sure.
Works for a construction company in Boston, actually. Does office work for them, and they actually built. I won't. Not my place to go off, but this man is a good friend of mine. He works for this company, Shawmut. They were the general contractor when I worked at the hub. I worked in the loading dock when all the new properties outside TD were being built in like 2019, including Big Night Live, where they host the watch parties and stuff and have shows, obviously, and whatnot. But so E like works for the company that built the new pro shop that's inside North Station now. Fun fact. So another good reason to bring them up. Shawmut. Shout out Shawmut Construction, union contractor in Boston. Unbelievable. But sorry, I'm getting too off topic. We're talking about
Those are the kind of shout outs we want to hear.
No, it's
That's
good.
the real community, I'll say.
Community outfit.
That's the real
effort,
community.
man. There was a lot going on. So it's in like, it's you guys coming out to these, like, it's you guys would have a great time. Like, so, WNBA game started at 8:00 across the street. Jalen popped up at like 5, I remember, and I wasn't there yet. But E was sending me a video, and it was E's birthday. So like I was trying to go see both of them, and there was a lot of people out there. Bree Marie D, shout out Bree Marie. She is a great correspondent. She has a big presence, well spoken, articulate correspondent out there. Shout out to Bree. Like there's a lot of people that just do stuff. Shout out to Andrew. He's always taking photos. But yeah, JB and I were, I got to say what up to him. That man definitely had been in line for a hot minute, and they kept saying he had to go. But I was like, is he going to finish out the line? They were like, yeah. So it was cool. 741. They've done prize wheel games like for the brand, where you can spin the wheel, maybe win something. There's been stuff where you can, purchase all 3 colored shoes. They have everything out there. So like, check it out. I mean, it's somewhere between urban and streetwear, right? Like,
Totally, yeah.
and activewear, athletic performance. It's kind of all tied in, like the clothes and the shoes, and they're just dope. So,
Gotta check them out. So,
yeah,
what was yeah, you got to. But what was your conversation like with Jaylen Brown?
With JB, man, we said what up. And basically I just told him, I was like, I remember the first time I ran into you in 2019. So I'm from Brighton originally. I mostly grew up in Needham a lot of my life. And I was in the Newton Highlands Whole Foods once. And it's right down this street from the Green Line train there. And I remember being in there, and just all of a sudden I did a double take, and that man was like, it was 2018, I want to say. He was behind me, kept up and down aisles, and he was with a girl, and he then was behind me in checkout magically. So I turned around and just thanked him for, everything. I just remember being like younger and nervous, but just being like, yo, man, like thank you for everything you've done, and you're dope. And like, he had been on the team for like 2 years at that point. And then little did I know, what would unfold. So, I mean, that was a cool memory. I mentioned that to him. He laughed. He go, oh, okay. He was like, no kidding. Like, obviously he may not have remembered, but like, it was really funny because he knew, like, in his mind, and like the face that he made was like, yeah, that would have been something that I did. So it was, it was cool. Like, just a fun moment. And that's, like I said, it was kind of short-lived in that sense. I would like to kind of like, see where his head was at more, and talk to him more about when he made, Just Do It, the song, and what inspired that really. And I think he's just had a lot of inspiration he felt like he needed to do something, demand even more, and do something new. I don't think it was just because he was like a champion, or he did this or that, or like he was like, he had it on his mind. And ASAP Ferg helped that make like a Boston to New York hip hop connection that's always actually already been there, that haters will say it's not. No. But people don't always think about it or know the history of the early 90s of what that might be with Gangstar and DJ Premier and Guru and the Boston, New York. So I think for me as like a hip hop head too, it's kind of like damn, this is kind of like a glory moment, like where like ASAP Ferg has his verse, just landed in Beantown, stomp my feet down, right? Like that's the intro of his verse. It's like he's already giving like, respect to that and Jalen and just slide. It's a mutual thing that it was really a big mutual thing there. And that's something I think that, that I'd like to unpack more if I can ever talk to him,
No,
And you talk a lot about your experiences within the Celtics community. What are some of your favorite memories within the Celtics community, whether it's attending some of the Jalen Brown pop ups or attending some of the GRD watch parties? What are some of your favorite memories out in the community of Boston?
Damn. I really, so I honestly miss working around there too, because I'd go to games a lot, and like when banners open too, in the last 6 years, it's changed a lot, and it's been really great. I loved being able to go get food and go to games. Like I said, I only got to go to one game in April when I moved back to Boston in February this year. Excuse me. But so it's been like, for me, sometimes I have to like take a minute to think too. But I think, and these are great questions, and I appreciate you guys. I think being at games with E in the last like several years has been like something really special too. So something funny, speaking of that, so that helps trigger a memory. So I think it was 2018 or 17, maybe 17, and Bucks Celtics at the Garden. It was, I'll be honest, it was a shit show. It was a shit show that afternoon because the referees were making calls left and right, and the Bucks were getting to the line, and some of them were just such horrific calls. Like you heard when you hear bullshit, when you hear the bullshit call, that's when we're fired up because we know we're not being treated fairly somehow, and it's just been bad call after bad call. And those days happen. They don't happen all the time, which is why when you're having one of those days. And it's like, I just remember E being out in the middle of like a row in an aisle, like hunched over, like out there with his arms up, just yelling like, what? Like it was in E is like a calculated, he is a very passionate fan, but that man is calm and collected. And they had him 3 rows down from where we were sitting. This man was out here yelling like, this was that playoff series in 2018 where Milwaukee was playing us, and it might have been like a game 5 or 6 or something at home, and it just you couldn't see the end of it. It was like I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't believe it. Like I didn't really. I hadn't been to a game where there was worse officiating than that myself, and I was just, it was almost comical. It was so bad, but it wasn't because we had to take it fucking seriously. I mean, it was a playoff game. So things like that in recent history, clawing, scratching our ways to where we wanted to be, right? Like just getting to like that level of like where we knew our team was going to get to, winning banner 18, and just, I mean, we really have not let up. We've never let up. And I think it's moments like that and kind of going through just some Kyrie chaos and just some, there was a lot of stages. So, I think it's interesting, like just getting to where we got to, and being in the community and being able to like be involved in going to games in like 2018, 2019, because then 2020, it was like, pandemic happened, things, changed a little bit. 2021, I got to go to a handful of games and then I moved. So like you guys asking me this, I think about, for me, what led up to this amazing historic thing.
Well, I have a question too. You talked about a lot of notable players for the Boston Celtics in there, kind of talking about that. But my question is, who was your all-time favorite Celtics player and who's your current favorite Celtics player? This is a question we love asking.
God damn it, Griffin. No, I was like, this is a great. No, thank you. I might just even do this real quick. Let's see who we got up there.
Oh,
Oh,
we got Torrey Craig. We got Torrey Craig up there. Yup, you were talking about that
Browns is
before.
crazy next to Jalen. Torrey Craig, a Bobby Orr newspaper. Anyway, so damn, all time, just one, and then
Well,
current.
we have a special question for you that Seamus will
Okay.
ask after.
I appreciate
But
it.
just
Current
one.
favorite, and you said current though for two, right?
Yeah, current and all time.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Current, Jaylen Brown, 100%, no questions asked. It's been that way for a decade, 9-10 years. Excuse me. And then I feel like you guys might know based on how we talked what I could say, but I think I gotta dig a little deeper than that because this is tough. I mean, it's between two people. Okay, so I'm gonna say this. D Brown would be a close second. But I think because of just like what I got to see and feel and visualize more, because I was old enough to actually go to the Garden, Fleet Center, Dana Barros, number 11. I actually was working on a song the last few months where I had a line about him in it too. And I was like, yes, I'm glad I slid that in there because that's a big Tiggy influence right there. So I got to get that in a song, put it up in a song type of thing. I don't know, man.
Totally.
So,
And
Dana
expanding off of that question, of course, too, we asked favorite current Celtic and favorite all-time Celtic. But if you were to put your 5 favorite Celtics of all time into a lineup, what would that lineup look like?
Love that. 1 through 5. So I'm gonna go point. We go Dana Barros at the point. No, you know what? Okay, I said Dana Barros. Okay, hold on. I said Dana Barros, but now I'm gonna make a lineup, and I'm not gonna use Dana Barros, even though Dana Barros is worthy of being in that lineup. If that's so, sorry, I'm saying a lot, but it runs deep. Kenny Anderson at the point guard is the first. Kenny Anderson, number 7. Tiggy 7 is a very, like I said, Tiggy 7, Jaylen Brown, D Brown, Kenny Anderson, Celtics, all-time Celtics. Dope.
Don't forget about Jared Sullinger in there.
Sullinger.
My guy, Jared Sullinger, number 7.
Sullinger, huge. There was a few others that wore that, I think, too. But so Kenny Anderson 7. I'll go at the point. I'm gonna go at the 2. At the 2 guard, I would have to go with 2 guard. I almost said Terry Rozier, just like off the top. I was like, Terry Rozier. I've all time, though. I can't do that. No. Damn. Kenny. All right. I should have said Bob Cousy. I'm saying Kenny Anderson. I loved Kenny Anderson. I just really like Kenny Anderson. Kenny Anderson at the 1. The 2 is tough. Like 3, I'd go Bird. I'd go Bird at the 3. Small forward, yeah. He was a 3, right? Yeah, he was a 3.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to think about
that. Yeah.
That man was a straight power forward, but he was a 3. And then 2, the 2 guard. That's tough. Pierce. That Pierce played the 2 or the 3. Am I allowed to give it that?
I think some positions are definitely interchangeable. You could put a guy like Larry Bird at the 3 or the 4. You could put a guy like Jason Tatum at the 3 or the 4. You could put a guy like Terry Rozier at the 1 or 2. You could put a guy like Paul Pierce at the 2 or 3. I think there are some interchangeable positions for sure.
And I love how there was like 7 examples of that. That's part of our culture, guys. Celtics Nation, rises up with statements like that, because these men just know that stuff, and that's lives rent free in your head. That's the type of stuff we need to talk about. So
Totally.
shout out to that as well. The 2 Spears, 3 Bird, the 4 and the 5. 5 is Bill Russell, and the 4, Robert Parrish.
Okay.
Am I allowed to do
Okay.
that?
That's another kind of interchangeable one. The double big. I mean, they never ran the double big back in the 80s, but today it would be a thing.
Double big.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I like it. I like
Scorers too, ebounders, scorers. I mean, that's what I was raised on. Rebounds, offensive rebounds. My dad used to get so mad when we didn't rebound. Like that was hustling, rebounding, and passing. That's what you learned in '90s Celtics culture.
it. Well, may I say, Seamus, this episode 59, might have been one of the best, all-time starting 5 that we've had.
Appreciate.
I'm just saying, we've had 2 good all-time starting 5, but
run it deep.
would you like to see? Yeah, would you like to see your fan all-time starting 5 now too? Like, would you like to just your fan favorites?
As in homies, like in the community and whatnot. You're saying?
No, all right.
No,
I would
not
say
super
that.
fans. Sorry, fans.
No. All right. So
you said
no,
5
right.
fans. You said
no. You already said it. Your fan starting 5 right there, and I really messed with that. That was a top tier one right there. But
my fan. Sorry, I was getting confused.
No, With that was it, and that was great. I tell you what, that might have been the best one. Do you agree, Seamus? That's up there. Like I said, when we do this 2K, we're gonna have to at the end of the year put all of the fan series top 5 into a 2K simulator and do it. But
what I find completely interesting about everybody starting the fan starting 5s is everybody was brought up in a different era. And, our guys our age group, it's the typical KG, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, Rajon Rondo, Doc Rivers, Big 3 era, right? The Big 3 era Celtics, the 2008 champions. It's always, for our age group, it's that's the gold standard. But, you're talking a lot about 90s basketball. We've had other people talk a lot about 90s basketball in here from the Celtics standpoint, even 2000s basketball. And we've even, let's face it, we've had some people join along the way in the late 2010s or even the 2020s, and it's very fascinating to see what everybody's fan starting 5 actually looks like, because they all start in different moments in time, and everybody has different proclivities to what players they actually enjoyed watching throughout their time watching Celtics history and witnessing Celtics history. So that starting 5 from you, and even the talk about 90s basketball from the Celtics, I gotta say I appreciate the spotlighting of that portion of Celtic history, because that is a time in Celtic history a lot of people like to forget because there were no championships. Right? I mean, the team wasn't as competitive as they are right now. I mean, were in the last 2 years, or even during the 80s or the 60s, and even the time during the 2010s and late 2000s. But the 90s, people forget there were still Celtic fans. There was still a team. There was still a foundation in place needed in order to build what was built in the future. And so the fact that you've been spotlighting that throughout this fan series episode here, I mean, I just find it very I appreciate it, number one, but I also find it fascinating, like just how many different, how many the different eras of time people came up in, and what they kind of saw, or I shouldn't even say saw, but witnessed in Celtics history, and what they bring to the table when it comes to the knowledge and the respect that people actually give certain portions of Celtic history. So I gotta say that the '90s, that's definitely a unique time in Celtic history that goes a little unnoticed, but I definitely I love that you're bringing it out as much as you do, and going back to the roots, of course, too.
Appreciate you, man, for real. No, and I think you said it, it's perspective, and I think I'm just really lucky to be born when I was, to be able to see that. And even though there wasn't anything to bring home, no trophies to be brought home, but definitely an era, and just big part of the culture still, so essentially got us ready for what we knew inevitably would be we'd be triumphant again, and now it's a matter of getting 19 right, and I mean getting to that hump where it's like, you know, we're here, and then the Lakers is still at 17. So I keep thinking about that.
No, totally.
It's not the only thing that it's about, but it's special. It's special.
I have. All right. So this is my final question to close out the show. Can we get a Celtics freestyle rap?
Sheesh, a Celtics freestyle.
Yeah.
Okay. I have some Celtics. I have a lot of like Celtics references in different songs too. But how so?
Or a freestyle. Just give us a freestyle. We're ready. Do you need a beat, or do you just do it without one? Because I think we have the Celtics Talk Weekly beat, right? Can we pull that up on here, Seamus?
So I
in
can
terms
just
of
do
the
it
beat
off.
on here. In terms of the beat,
no beat.
I don't know how well I'll be able to hear it.
Yeah, all right. Let's just hear it. No beat. No beat.
Copyright issues.
No beat.
Oh, actually, I have. Okay, yes.
I'm ready for this. This is first time we got a rap on here. I'm ready.
Yes, indeed. Gotta make it count for 3 like Porzingis in the fourth quarter. It's a damn shame these motherfuckers can't make my pizza to order as I'm bumping Midnight Marauder. Tribe in the building. Ayo, some of y'all are boring. Ayo, some of y'all are boring. That's a line in one of my songs, actually. I have to say that. It's unreleased. So nobody's really heard that. But it's a line that I wrote last year during the playoffs, too. And I'm giving you some Celtics bars. How's that? Because
I'm loving it.
You brought up keywords that I want to think of, like a couple of references just to show you real quick. And then there was East Coast Classic. Some of y'all cats ain't even old enough to do rap. Meanwhile, I'm talking smack, trying to keep boom bap on the map. It's Tiggy, homie, and I'm feeling pretty nice. Caught that Princess Diana, I still with ice spice. I'm like couscous, the food so nice they named it twice. I'm jumping off on the beat, eating Gullah Geechee red rice, or Pino's Pizza, afternoon delight. Brighton, Massachusetts, old city, still hype. Charleston, South Carolina was where I resided. Still we fight the government trying to make things right. Tiggy for the people, I told you once, I told you twice. Give me a break, old senators, Jesus Christ. A good reason to do rap is to keep it alive. Might as well hit 108 Harris with David tonight. Tap into your lyrical lemonade side. Smoke an entire slice once I hit the faded line. This shade 45, an East Coast classic. I'm balling like Mark Cuban, Dallas Mavericks, or better yet, Jaylen Brown. Yes, the Celtics number 7. Blasting off from the free throw like Jordan against the Jazz and shit.
Hey, well.
So I had to get to that. I was like, I had to do that, yo.
You just shot the lights out because my light just pooped out. Like I tell you what, that's how good the bars were.
I appreciate y'all, man.
All right, well we got back on. Well,
Jaylen Brown, Jaylen bars, got to do it.
I wanted to say again, Tiggy, thank you so much for doing the podcast. Again, we really appreciate your time, and likewise, honestly, just y'all. Thank you. It was a pleasure having you on.
And making it happen when we did too. So thank you.
Yes. Late at night right now. I gotta say, when we're recording,
show the clock, Griffin. Show the clock.
We do this, guys.
Show the clock. Show your clock. There you go.
He said Celtics.
It's Monday, folks. It's Monday.
It's Monday. These men have already risen. It's the morning.
It's Monday morning. It's the first 30 minutes of Monday morning. The first 30 minutes of the week. This is what we're doing.
Thanks. Yes, so I gotta say, thank you, Tiggy. Thank you. I gotta say, repping. I love the Celtics there. Well, thank you, man. Well, thank you again. With that being said, guys, that is gonna do it for the show. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to turn on post notifications so you are notified every time we upload. Again, make sure to like and subscribe. Again, it's going to be all crazy all off season. We're going to give you guys the best content we can, but you guys need to make sure to subscribe because most of you guys aren't subscribed. So hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost anything. It's free. So again, thank you guys so much. We'll see you at the next one. Peace, guys.